Now peasants come in all shapes and colors, and a lot got arrested in the past, 'cause the sheriff and his posse be profiling, 'cause we of the lowest social caste. So all I got to say to you flea-bitten, plague-ridden serfs so blindly acquiescent, when an angry mob is forming, what the fuck wilt thou do? Damn, it feels good to be a peasant.
It is Sunday, September 3rd, 2017. This is the Dissident Peasant podcast. I'm your host, Jeff the Dissident Peasant. On today's show, got something special for you. A subject near and dear to my heart, but perhaps not the most important subject in the world. Nonetheless, it's still something that I feel I can say something about, because it doesn't require any specific education or expertise to tackle. It just requires what I think is a bit of pragmatism and strategic thinking. And it's the kind of thinking that in some factions of the left, it's not necessarily in abundance. So, if you've been on the internet long and you've ever looked at any news videos, you've heard of the Young Turks. With over 200 million views per month on YouTube, they have 70 full-time employees, with about 30 more on contract. They might be independent media, but they are definitely not small-time.
I just want to let you guys know that we had 4.5 million views on election night. Too strong.
I generally appreciate the Young Turks. They aren't perfect, but they do a much better job than anything on cable news that you can possibly find. But when your total investment is around $24 million and you spend a non-insignificant amount of time crowing about how large your audience is, then you should commit yourself to serving that audience with thoughtful programming and analysis. And the Young Turks have a problem, and that problem's name is Jimmy Dore.
Hillary Clinton will win, and she'll have a mandate, and that's a horrible thing because she'll feel no need to ever go left. Right now, she doesn't give a shit about the left. So I say vote third party, no matter what, no matter where you are. I don't care if you're in a swing state. We got to get rid of this one-party duopoly. That's the one party, which is corporate duopoly, which is one party, really, which is the money party.
I used to enjoy Jimmy a lot. He seems like the kind of guy I would generally get along with because he's funny and he's cool with weed.
Speaking of that, I got my medical marijuana license recently, and all my friends want me to buy pot now. And they're like, "Hey, why don't you go get me some pot?" I'm like, "Why don't you go get your medical marijuana license?" And they go, "Well, I think you end up on some kind of a list, don't you?" "I don't want to end up on some kind of a list." And you do. You end up on a list. You end up on a list of people who can buy fucking pot. Pretty good list. People are like, "Is it really that much different, Jim, medical marijuana than regular marijuana?" And I'm like, I don't know, is Christmas any different than any other day?
But Jimmy's transition from comedian to political analyst, I'll be charitable and just call it troubled.
People have passed this video around on Twitter, crazy, telling people that I'm telling people to vote for Trump, which I'm not. But this is my theory. You vote for Trump. I mean, if Trump becomes president, he can't get anything done. If you watch those loser Donald segments, he guy's an incompetent, a moron. He can't get anything done. Plus, he fractures the Republican Party, right? All the opposition coalesces against Donald Trump. All the Democrats, all the independents, and all the purple state Republicans.
I don't think I need to explain that that's not the way things worked out. Jimmy has ceased to care, if he ever did, about smart and thoughtful and well-researched political analysis. In fact, he's inadvertently fallen into the trap a lot of other terrible pundits find themselves in, and that's an inability to differentiate between two flawed political parties. Both sides are terrible, so what's the point of supporting either one of them?
You can't keep giving your vote to Hillary Clinton because we're just going to get more of the same. And her policies are almost indistinguishable. I mean, what is she going to do? What is Donald Trump going to do that you're afraid Hillary Clinton won't do?
Larry, to that point, do you think that the American electorate has become more immune to it? I mean, every headline, show-led newspaper front page headlines were this Montana candidate, now Congressman-elect, who body slammed a reporter, and 2 days later, no one's talking about it.
Quote, Americans haven't become more used to it. This is as partisan as everything else in this intensely polarized, partisan country. Republicans, it doesn't bother them, as we saw in Montana. How many people did you interview there?
You can't characterize an entire half of this country.
First of all, it's not half of the country. You've got Republicans, Democrats, and Independents. But Republicans support it because it's promoted by their side, by their president, and by
Texas,
other people associated with the Republican Party.
I will say in Texas, though, there were Democrats laying hands. We had a Democratic representative admitting he put his hands on another candidate. The other guy threatened to shoot him. I mean, it was a back and forth. There were Democrats involved, too. And the chair of the Democratic Party, Larry, and we're not doing counterpoint here, but the chairman of the Democratic Party, Tom Perez, is now swearing regularly. And I know swearing isn't hitting, but he's purposefully using naughty words now to make his point. So Democrats see an advantage here, too, don't they?
And when I say he doesn't research, I mean it. I want you to listen to this.
Here's one little thing I found out looking into this. So this all started when Ronald Reagan scared the hell out of the Democrats back in the 80s. And in 1984, the Congress, which had been solidly Democratic since FDR, flipped to the Republicans. And it scared the hell out of them so much that they decided, meaning they, Bill Clinton and Al Gore, decided, hey, let's become like them.
One small thing you found while looking into this. Did you look into this?
Under Reagan, the Democrats lost the Senate, but not the House.
In 84, the House. Correct me if I'm wrong. The House flipped in 84.
The House flipped in 94.
It's a small thing, I know, but it's also an incredibly easy thing to look up, especially if it's the sort of thing that you've just claimed that you've looked into. Jimmy works for a company with over 30,000 paying subscribers and millions of dollars in revenue. This is his job. He's not just a comedian, and if you want to be a good liberal pundit, in my opinion, you need to have two things. You need to have solidarity, and you need to care about what's true. You don't always need to be right, but you do need to care about what's true. And you need to show solidarity with people who may or may not be as lucky as you are in this country and around the world. You know, Jimmy's a white guy, and I appreciate that as a fellow white guy. But you know, I'll probably be fine through a Donald Trump presidency. It's a good thing I'm not Hispanic or Latino. It's a good thing I'm not black or Asian or a woman or need an abortion or wasn't born in this country, right? Jimmy doesn't have to worry about that, and neither do I. But I care about those people. That's why voting for Hillary Clinton was incredibly easy to do, and why it was incredibly important to me that I convince other people to vote for this admittedly flawed and yet much better candidate. If you haven't reached the conclusion that there is a real and measurable difference in quality between Democratic and Republican control of government, after more than 6 months of non-governments by the Mad King and his court, you should retire from commenting on American politics.
That voting for Hillary Clinton will somehow make things better is crazy. We're going to have to fight
Supreme Court.
Right now, we have a Democratic president right now who's pushing as hard as he can for the TPP. So we're going to have to fight the Democrats on the TPP. Right now, he nominated a corporatist judge.
All right. Yeah, the TPP didn't go anywhere, and I'd trade Merrick Garland for Neil Gorsuch in a heartbeat. If you can't recognize that each political party is vulnerable to pressure by that side's base, you should retire from commenting on American politics.
So you're saying that a Democrat pushing the TPP is not as bad as a Republican pushing the TPP, so we should vote Democrat.
Well, I don't think Hillary Clinton's going to push the TPP.
Honestly?
Yeah. I think it's too
Wow.
toxic for her at this point. I think there's too many people in the Democratic Party.
If you unapologetically devote an episode of your show, the content of which you control with absolute authority, to speculation on whether or not Hillary Clinton is suffering from Parkinson's disease, you should retire from commenting on American politics.
Like if you faint, usually your head goes, but her head didn't go. She was stiff. It looked like a neurological thing, like she had a spasm or a thing, because like she was like this, so she was like jerky, like someone with.
Are you a doctor?
I am not a doctor, but that's not how people faint. And you know why I'm allowed to? I give myself permission to speculate because they lied. So once they lie about it, now we all get to speculate. She has Parkinson's because she has a certain type of pneumonia that isn't, because they were like, well, if she had pneumonia on Friday, she was out there meeting people and she was around kids, why are you letting her infect people? And they go, no, it's a certain kind of pneumonia is it called aspiration? I think it's called aspiration pneumonia, which you only get, that's not bacterial, you only get that from Parkinson's. And we also saw the metal thing fall out of her pants, which I showed on another video that no one's bringing up, by the way.
What?
There was a metal.
this.
So people are saying that because if she has Parkinson's, that you lose bladder control, that she's wearing a catheter, and they've showed other pictures of it. You could see it through her pants. That's what they claim. Well, you don't know what that is, so I never brought it up. But then during this, I'll show you the video. When she falls, a piece of metal comes out of her pants and hits the concrete, and you can hear it and you can see it.
Yeah, but catheters aren't.
But it's strapped to her knee. They would the way the drawings I've seen that they to strap it to your knee is where they use a metal clamp or whatever. So here,
The guy's got time to look up catheter drawings, but can't look up in what year the Democrats lost control of the House. If you think Mitch McConnell breaking a Democratic filibuster of Supreme Court nominees is as likely as Hillary Rodham Clinton potentially nuking Syria, you should retire from commenting on American politics.
How do you know on day one Mitch McConnell won't change the rules to get rid of the filibuster for Supreme Court justices?
Hey, how do you know on the first day Hillary won't bomb Syria with a nuclear weapon?
Well, all right.
How do you know?
And if you think this kind of nonsense is just pre-election, it's an ongoing thing. This is from August 25th, 2017.
For those who watch the show or who watch the Aggressive Progressives,
what's that?
The best show on the network.
Oh, okay.
Jimmy and I often talk about the failings of the Democratic Party and how so many times they are, too close or very similar to the Republican Party. But here is where there's a big difference. The Republicans don't believe in government. They don't believe in science. They don't want the government to have an active role in these kind of areas, whereas the Democrats do, and they are much better prepared for storms and cleanup and preparedness.
And Steve makes a good point that Democrats in general are more for government intervention and science and stuff like this, except, of course, we've seen Flint, Michigan still hasn't had clean drinking water since 2014. Barack Obama came in, drank a glass of water, and left town.
I'm not asking for a flawless and ceaseless performance according to my extremely exact standards, okay? Nobody is an expert in everything, and everyone's wrong sometimes. But all this stuff that I've just pointed out to you seems pretty obvious to me, and I'm just some random peasant. I'm just asking for a smart and sincere dedication to the truth. And one of those truths is that one of two people was going to be president on January 20th, 2017. Donald John Trump or Hillary Rodham Clinton. And if you see both as equally evil and neither party preferable to the other, you're not pro small folk, I'm not pro you, and I got no use for you. Because as I record this, the South Korean military is warning that North Korea appears to be preparing for a ballistic missile test, perhaps an ICBM. Because right now, Immigration and Customs Enforcement is engaged in ethnic cleansing in my country. Because right now, Donald Trump openly feels comfortable sympathizing with white supremacists. Because right now, the EPA's work has been completely shut down. And because right now, as of this recording, Trump has ended the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program known as DACA, that allows people who came to this country as children to live normal, legal lives. Jimmy Dore helped bring us to this point, and he is unapologetic about it. And I am similarly unapologetic when I say this. Jimmy Dore is a moron. What he delivers isn't news analysis, it's sloppily thought out nonsense. No respectable news outlet should avail themselves of his services as currently rendered. At the very least, someone needs to take him aside and set him straight. TYT, do something. Now. It's important. Okay, that's today's show. Sorry it took a while. Hope you liked it. If you did, maybe I'll do more video in the future. I want to thank anyone who sent me clips and examples of Jimmy's nonsense, including Kids Show Business and Jimmy Dore on Twitter. DissidentPeasant.com is still headquarters. I'm still your host, Jeff the Dissident Peasant. Stay dissident.
I'm not in heaven.
Money tough and union made.
We can fight but strong together.
Money tough and union made.
Divided we fall, united we stand.
Money tough and union made.
It's a working woman and a working man.
Money tough and union made.
We not waiting for judgment day.
Money tough and union made.
Money tough and union made.
Money tough and union made. Money tough and union made. One long struggle day by day. That's how we got to live this way. Money tough and union